Zachary Taylor, or better known as Zack, is the first Black Ranger of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and we are not talking about the color of his skin, but the color of his costume. Personally, this is my favorite Ranger of all time, so for me it is an honor to introduce you to his story. Zack was the second in command in the Mighty Morphin after Jason the Red Ranger, all this, until Tommy Oliver arrived as the White Ranger, which Zordon put as leader, and Jason became the second in command. Zack's animal is the Mastodon, and his weapon is a very powerful axe that becomes a type of energy cannon, which is the beginning of the combination of all the Rangers' weapons to form the Power Blaster. In the comics, Zack has also been the Pink Ranger, the Green Ranger, and the Black Omega Ranger. Speaking of his personal life, Zack was a young man with some problems at home, but was still quiet and joking. Although he was very hesitant to have friends at first, he met Jason and the other Rangers at Angel Grove and gradually developed more. He is a young man who likes holidays like Halloween, although he is afraid of spiders and snakes. Zack likes to dance a lot, and what he did was to combine dancing with martial arts and invented a fighting style called hip-hop Kido, which he also teaches to others. He spends most of his time practicing martial arts with Jason and Tommy, as well as teaching dance to other students. When the war between Rita and Zordon started again after Rita escaped from her confinement, Zordon chose 5 young men to be the Power Rangers, and one of those was Zack, who at first was not sure if he could be a Ranger because he was an insecure young man at the beginning of his life due to the problems he had at home. Then he decided to commit to being a Ranger and accepted the mission to save the planet. With this he becomes the Black Ranger of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with the Mastodon Power Coin, which controls the Mastodon Dinozord. In the comics, during a mission, Zack controls the Megazord and they defeat Rita's monster while Jason helps from the ground. At the end of the battle, everyone celebrates Jason's performance, but not Zack's, and therefore he feels a bit of jealousy within himself. Rita takes advantage of this jealousy and chooses him to be the first Green Ranger, since at this point Tommy had not yet appeared. When Rita makes the offer to Zack, he was tempted, but he rejected Rita and tried to steal the Green Ranger's power coin, but failed. Then Zack confessed everything to Zordon, and this story stayed between them and no other Ranger knew about it. Because of this whole event, when Tommy joined the team as the Green Ranger, Zack questioned Tommy's loyalty many times and if Rita could still control him. This is why, at first, they have several confrontations, but then they begin to trust each other little by little. Later, when Lord Zed arrives and destroys the Zords, Zordon gave the Rangers the new Thunderzords and Zack had control of the Lion Thunderzord. Zack's last mission with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was to find the Light Sword, which is used to transfer powers from one Ranger to another when their powers come from one of the 5 power coins. The 6th coin has no connection to this sword. This mission was because Zack, Jason and Trini would travel to Switzerland and had to transfer their powers to other young people. Zack managed to transfer his powers to Adam, who would become the new Black Ranger and would be a very important and beloved character in the saga. Despite Zack having passed his powers to Adam, Zack has appeared as a Black Ranger in several seasons where fights have been given along with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, as was the famous legendary battle, or the battle in which Jason summons his team to defeat Golder Maximus. Before we talk about their last appearance, we must first talk a little more about their journey as Omega Ranger. In the TV show we could see the transfer of power, and we all already know the excuse we were given for these actors not to appear anymore. In real life, it has already been known that it was all because of contract problems with the franchise owners, as the actors were paid too little and they wanted the money they actually deserved. This opened a window to create a story about these 3 Rangers who had to transfer their power, and as a curious fact, the actors were not actually in that episode. The producers used old scenes and other voices to portray these Rangers. In the comics they used this opportunity to create a new story with these Rangers, and it has been something that has worked excellently. The Omega Rangers have been so famous that Hasbro has had to sell action figures of these Rangers, and the fans love this team. In the beginning of the story, Jason was the one chosen by the Blue Emissary, but Zack and Trini found out about this and also decided to join the team. After a while, the Blue Ranger joined, and during all this time the team members have changed little by little. This Omega Rangers team had existed for many years before, but the Morphin Masters had to hide this power. This is why Zack is considered to be very special, as he could be chosen to have this mysterious power that carries with it a great responsibility. The Omega Rangers are in charge of the security of the universe, so the enemies they face are much more powerful and dangerous. In the TV series, the last we got to see of Zack was his appearance in the special episode, and best of all, he was one of the main characters. In this story, Zack was working in politics, but due to Trini's unfortunate passing, he had to take care of the Yellow Ranger's daughter. Zack took it upon himself to train Min, and apparently the training was effective as she became the new Yellow Ranger. In this special we could see that Zack has matured a lot since, although he is still a cheerful person, he is also very responsible, and this he showed by committing himself to the care of Trini's daughter. In this special episode to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the franchise, we could see that Zack still uses his dancing as a fighting style and gave us a demonstration that despite the age he is, he can still move very well. At the end of this episode, we could see that Zack made the final shot to destroy Rita using his power axe, and with this we could confirm that this is one of the most powerful weapons that exists. I think Zack is a very special Ranger, as since 1993 he was able to establish one of the best personalities in the entire history of the franchise by combining humor, commitment, and responsibility. This is a flexible character that can adapt to any situation, and he has proven that in the TV series, but also in the comics. There is a version of Zack in Lord Draken's dimension, and there too we can see Zack can adapt to any situation. After the mighty Morphin power transfer happened and 3 Rangers had to hand over their power to other people, several important things happened. Jason had to hand over his power to Rocky, and from that moment on many fans began to despise this new Ranger because he could not fill the void left by Jason, and no matter how good Rocky has been for many years, some fans have continued to despise him just because he replaced Jason. However, with Zack and Adam this did not happen, quite the opposite. Many of us fans loved Zack, and I think everyone knows by now that he is my favorite Ranger, but when Adam started being the new Black Ranger many fans loved him just as much. Then, several years went by, and Adam participated in several seasons and fans started to love him more and more every day, and now he is one of the most loved Rangers in the whole franchise. Despite this, some new fans don't know his whole story, and with his participation in the 30th anniversary special we should dig a little deeper into his life as a Ranger. We must begin by talking about his personality, since he is a very emotional and sentimental man, with a good heart who is not afraid to express what he feels. We could see this in the 1995 movie when the animal he got from the new powers was the toad. This made him very sad, and he was able to accept how he felt at that moment. The reason why many love Zack is because he makes others laugh, especially the fans who watched the series, and I think this is the main reason why the fans accepted Adam, as he also has this quality of making everyone laugh. One important thing about Adam is that despite not having been a Red Ranger or a team leader, he still has the skills to be a great leader, and he proved this in the 15th anniversary episode of the franchise where he was the team leader of the old Ranger team that came to help. Although Adam is well known for being the second Black Ranger of Mighty Morphin, he also had participation in other teams. Even some people know him from that time when he was in those other teams. Adam participated in Power Rangers Zeo as the Green Ranger, and this was one of his best participations in the franchise. He then went on to be part of the Power Rangers Turbo team and stayed with the green color. In this third team he had the opportunity to participate in the Turbo movie, and he had also already participated in the 1995 movie, which was where many began to know him. At the time the 1995 movie was released, many still did not know the supposed new Rangers, which were Adam, Aisha, and Rocky. I say supposed because in reality they started in Power Rangers since 1994. What happened was that in those years we didn't have the internet as we do now, and we had to wait for some TV network to present the episodes, and many of us were not updated on everything that was happening in the series. Then came the movie that became very famous, and many of us were surprised to find out that there were 3 new Rangers. At that time many thought that it was simply for production or budget reasons, and that the supposed real Rangers had not accepted to be in the movie and these other actors arrived, but the reality was different. The new Rangers started to be Rangers since the transfer of power, and those episodes were released in November 1994, but the movie was released in June 1995. These supposed new Rangers had already been Rangers for 25 episodes, although they participated in 6 episodes before being Rangers. Basically, they had already participated in 31 episodes of the series before appearing in the movie. If this had happened nowadays, then their appearance in the movie would not have taken us by surprise, since with the internet we can all watch all the episodes of the series without having to wait for some TV network to release them. Be at home at the right time and pray that no one interrupts you at that moment. In the story of the series, Adam starts as a Ranger in the second season with the same power that Zack had, but then went on to have the ninjetti power in the third season of the series, and with these powers Adam was able to fight against Rita and Lord Zed. Then, he became part of the Power Rangers Zeo. There he changed color and began being the Green Ranger fighting against the Machine Empire. Then in Season 5 he started fighting one of the worst villains of the beginning of Power Rangers, called Divatox. At that time, the Rangers changed to be the Turbo Rangers, and Adam continued to be the Green Ranger of that team, but this time he was the second leader of the team. After 19 episodes of that season, he had to pass his powers to someone else, and Adam chose Carlos, who would now be the Green Turbo Ranger, but then in the In Space season he would be the Black Ranger. This would not be the last time Adam would see Carlos in an episode of In Space, as he had to return to help him. In that episode Adam saved Carlos from a monster, and even though his morpher was broken and it was a big risk to use it, Adam still transformed to be the Black Ranger again and saved Carlos. After almost 9 years, Adam returned to action in Operation Overdrive in celebration of the 15th anniversary of the franchise. In this episode the Rangers of this season lose their connection with the Morphin grid, and because of this, the Sentinel Knight restores Adam's powers and brings him along with other Rangers to help stop the son of Rita and Lord Zed. There is a curiosity in this episode about Adam, and it is that when the Rangers appeared and they did their Morphin, each one had the music of their season, but Adam being the only Ranger of the Saban era, Disney did not have the rights to the main music of Mighty Morphin, and that is why you hear another song. In addition to this, they also created a different transformation sequence to the one that the Mighty Morphin have always had, and this caused many to think that in the special 30th anniversary episode of the franchise, the Rangers might have a different sequence. Since in special episodes such as the legendary battle, the Black Ranger comes out transformed only, and we do not know if it is Adam or Zack, we can say that we do not see Adam since that 15th anniversary episode. After 15 years without appearing, we could see him again in the special episode of the 30th anniversary, and although we had many expectations, his participation was very short. We were all hoping to see him fight again, and maybe we could see that new transformation sequence he was given in the 15th anniversary, but his participation was very different. Adam is now part of SPA, which stands for Space Patrol Alpha and is an interplanetary group dedicated to protecting the universe. This group has been dedicated to fighting Trubbian Empire, the same villains we saw in the SPD saga, and this war is happening in the Sirius system. Even though Alpha had called all the Rangers, Adam couldn't make it to Earth in time because the trip took about 6 hours, and when he arrived the Rangers had already finished off Rita. After this, Adam helped take the affected Rangers to his ship to the medical area, then took them to Aquitar in the hope that the inhabitants of this planet could help the Rangers return to their normal state. Some have asked if SPA has any relation to SPD, and the producer of the special episode said that SPA is a clear reference to SPD. Basically, the SPA group is the beginning or the prelude to what SPD would be in the future, as you must remember that season is set in 2025. If you are a fan of Adam, like this video and subscribe for more Power Rangers stories.